Hey, I'm living the perfect retirement and you can too. Want to be not reporting to a boss every day, doing the 8 to 5 or some similar thing? And even if you're a business owner, do you want to be constantly fretting over sales at your business? I gotta tell you, retirement is great and I can't recommend it highly enough. I've been retired for 12 years and I retired at age 53, which is an early retirement. You want to talk about how you can retire early and how you can be financially, independent? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and today we're talking about planning a perfect retirement, hunting for free gold. Now, you don't have to be spending all your time, majority of your time like I do hunting for free gold. There's lots of other great activities. We'll talk a little bit about that too, but the key is living a healthy lifestyle. Now, I've looked at the statistics for my video YouTube watchers, the folks that watch my videos, and I gotta say, the majority of you folks are people who should be seriously thinking about your retirement, and some of you are close enough to the right age that you should be thinking about it real hard. Now, like I say, I am living the dream retirement, and the truth is, you can do it too. It's not impossibly difficult. Does it take work? Yes. Is it super easy? No, unless you're somehow independently wealthy. I'm not. I was born to a family that was just average middle class. So I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth and a bank account, a giant bank account full of money. Early retirement and a dream type retirement is achievable if you work hard and focus on it and make it a goal and live the right way. And we're going to talk about the techniques of what you have to do to be able to achieve that. Now, the truth is, for all of us, we have a limited amount of time, and nobody knows how much time they have left. Life doesn't come with a guarantee or a best buy date. You got life. It may last for a while or it may not. But, time is the thing that none of us have an infinite amount of. And no matter how much money you have or how healthy you are or anything else, time is a thing that's limited for all of us. But time is what we really want in retirement. Time to do fun activities like prospecting for gold or other stuff if you like. Gardening. I do gardening too. I in the summertime have a nice garden. I enjoy growing vegetables and picking them and eating them, fruits, and I like my strawberries. I like to travel, and some of the travel that I do is for prospecting and for meeting up with people to prospect, but some of the travel I do is just for fun and take my wife out to do fun and interesting stuff. I'd like to have time, enjoy having time with friends and family. If I want to go have lunch with somebody, if I want to go visit somebody, if I want to, take my granddaughters out and do something, I got the time to do it. Now, you can get yourself into this position too. And because it's we're getting toward the new year, even if you're watching this way after New Year's, it's still always a good time to start. There's never a bad time to get started. So start with looking at your life and what changes you can do to make your life better. And that's what we're focusing on, because a better life, a more independent life is what you want to achieve. And eventually, like I say, it leads to early retirement and a really high quality retirement. Now is always the time to get your life back on the right path. Now, for me, I've got a decent income. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and how things work for me. I worked for a county government here in the local county where I live, and I worked for about 27 years, almost 30 years, and through that earned a retirement and was able to basically have that. But I lived a thrifty life. I lived a conservative, financially conservative, I'm not talking about politics, I'm just a financially conservative life. My wife and I, we paid off our house, we pay off our cars, we don't have any debts, and that's one of the big secrets of being able to retire early is not owing money to people to be able to live on your retirement. So I got a halfway decent retirement from my county job, and that pays the bills. Even if all my other income suddenly went away, I'd still be able to pay all my bills and, keep things going just based on my pension. But I have a supplemental income and I do different things. One of the things I do is I sell mining claims. I stake mining claims and sell them to mining companies. Now, this is hard. That's a hard thing to do. You have to be experienced and know the mining industry well and know what kind of stuff they're looking for. But I've studied for years and I know this kind of stuff. So I've been able to do this and make good money. I also, of course, go out and prospect for gold. I find my own gold. I'm out hunting free gold regularly because I really enjoy it. But, you know, that could be other stuff. You could do some hunting free gold or golfing or fishing or gardening, whatever you really enjoy. My passion is the prospecting. But I make some money from that. Some money from the selling the claims. I have a book that I sell. I make a little money from that. I have some other things going on in my life. And, you know, all together, plus my savings, I get a little bit of income from interest and stuff on my savings. And all together, it makes for a very comfortable life. And it allows me to spend lots of time outdoors doing what I want. And that's one of the real keys to my retirement plan. You know, I do get people that say, hey, you don't find enough gold to live on. Well, yeah, no, I don't find enough gold to just live on the gold I find. But between selling the mining claims, pension, book, YouTube video income, all that stuff put together, various things, you know, it makes my life very comfortable. And like I say, my life is planned out so that the pension I get, which is not huge, but it's not nothing, is more than sufficient to take care of the bills, pay the utilities, buy the gas, pay the food, shelter, that kind of stuff. And because I don't have a house payment, it works out fine. Now, like I say, crafting the perfect retirement takes work, but you can do it. The goal of a perfect retirement, of a good retirement, one of the secrets is financial independence. And financial independence means that you control your expenses. You control what you're spending, the amount of money that you need. You have to be able to afford your lifestyle. And whatever your lifestyle is, you have to be able to afford it in order to be able to retire, okay? And I have a lifestyle that allows me to do fun things, to travel, to spend time with friends and family. It's great. And you can do this too, but it takes planning. I mean, literally for years, my wife and I worked towards paying off the house, making sure we didn't have any car loan debt or any other, you know, unsecured credit card debt and other stuff like that. No, we lived very modestly. And, you know, we didn't drive 30-year-old cars or anything, but we lived within our means and we were careful to do that. You know, one of the things my kids still kid me about is that in a time when my kids were young, everybody in the world had cable TV and something like that. We didn't spend the money on that. We just had the regular old network stuff that you could get with the antenna on my roof. Now we have cable because we can afford it. But in those days when we were saving money and make sure our house was paid off, we lived frugally. We lived modestly. We didn't have all the latest and greatest things. And that's important. In order to be able to afford your lifestyle, you have to craft a lifestyle that you can afford. And financial independence really is something that you can achieve. One of the secrets, like I say, is living debt-free. Now, you know, people will argue about this and that kind of stuff, but when you buy stuff that you can't afford and you keep buying stuff, it gets to be an issue. I've heard people say that if you have too many things, it gets to be where your things own you and you don't own your things. And it's true, it gets to where, and I know people who are so taken up with always having the latest, newest car, the latest, newest clothes, the latest, newest electronics, the latest, newest everything, that, you know, they're just taken up by that. And the truth is, we don't need that. The latest, newest everything doesn't fall into fun activities, travel, or time with friends and family. Those are the things that make for great memories and the things that last longer than, you know, the latest electronics. My brand new cell phone that, you know, is super expensive. In a year or two, it's not going to be the latest and greatest. It's going to be something that if I'm trying to keep up with, you know, what the latest and greatest is, I may be trying to replace that thing. And it gets to be really expensive trying to always keep the latest and greatest stuff. So living within your means and crafting a lifestyle that you can afford is something that's super important. And honestly, lots of debt is not the way to financial independence. Lots of debt is the way to financial slavery. And planning your expenses and budgeting. Some of you may have heard of Dave Ramsey or watched some of his videos. I was never a super huge Dave Ramsey fan, although a lot of what he says makes super great sense. And the truth is, for a lot of people, having credit cards is just a temptation that they can't withstand. It's money waiting to be spent, they think. And they go out and spend things they can't afford, and then the credit card bills with the high interest rates make it doubly that you can't afford. So, budgeting and financial control of your finances, living modestly and not buying things that you can't afford, and saving, putting some money away in savings. We've always focused on that, my wife and I. And so when we have things like a car breakdown or the refrigerator blows up and is no good anymore, we can just write a check and get a new refrigerator, or we'll write a check and get a new car, or car repairs or whatever, if it makes more sense to repair your car. And generally speaking, it makes more sense. Eventually you get to a point. I had a car once that the car was probably worth at best $800 to $1,000. Okay, so that's a pretty low grade car, right? And it had, the transmission went out, and the transmission replacement was $2,000. So replace the transmission for $2,000, or just get rid of your car and get a newer car with the $2,000. I think that's the better deal. And I sold that car. I sold it for $50 with it had about $40 worth of gas in the gas tank. So it was a pretty cheap car, but as is, whereas I told the guy the transmission was bad, and he was an amateur mechanic, and he said he could deal with it and fix it, and he had ways. And it's like, okay, great, and he bought the car, and he was happy with it, and I was happy to see it go, and we got a newer, better car. That's the kind of options that having a conservative and modest lifestyle with a budget and controlling your budget and having good savings and good financial practices, that's the kind of things that put you on the road to financial independence. Spending money, taking out lots of loans, having giant credit card debt, that's the way to financial slavery. I actually knew a guy I worked with who he went through a divorce, which was tough, of course. But his wife was always the one that limited his financial craziness, right? So as soon as he was free of that and he had credit cards, he just went out and spent all kinds of stuff that he really wanted, right? I want this, sure, buy it. I want that, sure, buy it. And he ended up with about 60 grand worth of credit card debt. And when you're paying 18 to 20% for credit card debt, and you got 60 grand worth of credit card debt, it's a killer. And it really limited what the guy could do. He couldn't buy a house. He couldn't afford to buy a new car. He could hardly afford to fix the old car that he had. And he had a good salary. And so, be wary of credit cards. Yeah, the Dave Ramsey thing, because Dave absolutely recommends cut up and tear up and get rid of your credit cards. And if you have, thousands of dollars worth of credit card debt, even a few thousand, $4,000 or $5,000 worth of credit card debt that's ongoing, yeah, you really probably should cut up your credit card. If you're able to, not spend that money, if you're conservative enough, okay. We kept credit cards, but we paid them off every month, and we didn't buy things that we didn't normally, just stuff that we wanted. No, we used the credit card to buy gas at the gas station or, whatever. We didn't buy groceries with it. So anyway, the credit card thing is a dangerous proposition, and it gets people into that road of debt. And having lots of debt is not the way to financial independence. If you learn nothing else from this video, be sure and remember that. Another thing is modest and conservative. Again, not talking politically conservative, I'm talking about financially conservative investing. I've invested in stocks and that kind of stuff, And I've bought a few individual stocks, but really you're better off buying like an S&P 500 thing that has 500 stocks from the S&P. They're all industrial stocks. It invests in America, and so it's a good thing. And I make so much money off that it's really been a big help to us. And we don't have to touch that, take that money out, because the investment is a good investment and it keeps growing at a good rate. And so I recommend to you conservative, modest, careful investment. My grandfather always advocated utility stocks, and sometimes utility stocks pay a dividend of 5, 6, 8%, and that can be really nice and give you a good income stream if you have a nice investment in that. So, those are the kinds of conservative investing. You don't want to go out and put all my money in Bitcoin and we'll just hope that Bitcoin goes to the moon. Because Bitcoin, it goes up, but it goes down too. And, if you were one of the guys that bought Bitcoin at 60 grand, you're pretty unhappy that it's at 40 something right now. Now, if you bought Bitcoin when it was $100, and then you're pretty happy, but most people don't. Besides, Bitcoin has a lot of other risks. I did a video on it if you really are interested in knowing the truth about Bitcoin, because it's got its downside, definitely. And so the way to financial independence is modest and careful investing. Get a dividend, get something out of your money. Don't go for, risky investments, are risky. That's what they are. And most people lose big money in them. And losing big money in your investments, that's also not the way to afford your lifestyle and be financially independent. Another thing I like to recommend is having a diversified income. For me, I've mentioned that I have my mining claims that I sell, I have a pension, I have the book that I sell, I have YouTube income, I have other smaller sources of income, of course the gold that I find when I'm out prospecting. All these add up and they make my life very comfortable. But so that's why I recommend having multiple streams. You may say, well, Chris, I don't have a pension. I only have Social Security. Well, Social Security is something, but you shouldn't try and live on just Social Security. So, craft other, things of income, even if it has to be like a part-time job, but there's ways to be creative and do good with your income. And so I heartily recommend a diversified income stream. Even if you're working part-time as a greeter at Walmart, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? That's a possibility. Something it's something that gives you an income more than just depending on Social Security, or for me, more than just depending on my pension. Because that financial security will give you the road to retirement, and especially in early retirement. Like for me, it worked out. Now, the other thing about retirement is taking care of your health. If you're going to go through all this work of budgeting and being real careful with your money, not investing in crazy stuff, in saving and living debt-free, you're going to do all these things. You want to have time to enjoy that stuff, right? You don't want to work for 30 years to, create this great path and then, be in terrible health. There's a lot of people who, by the time that they're able to retire or the time that they can afford to do things, they're in too poor a health to be able to really enjoy that. So, and taking care of your health is super important, and having healthy habits. I know people whose lives have suffered because they abuse substances, and I'm not preaching against, I'm not anti-alcohol or something like that, but there is such a thing as substance abuse, and over abusing and over drinking, over taking recreational drugs, all that kind of stuff. It can be really bad for you. There is such a thing as overdoing it. So you need to take care of your health and be, again, modest with what you do. Healthy living is important. active living, getting out and hunting free gold, prospecting and that kind of stuff, or working in your garden, or golfing, or fishing, hunting. There's all kinds of activities that you can be doing, getting out and bird watching, photography, whatever you enjoy, metal detecting, for coins and jewelry and that kind of stuff. It's all great. Have an active lifestyle. Get out and do things. Don't just be a couch potato. That's a way to make sure that you have a long life with a quality lifestyle. Insurance and seeing doctors. Having good insurance allows you to see doctors, see if you have things. I have high blood pressure that I take medication for. With the medication, my blood pressure is pretty good, but without it, it'd probably be pretty bad. And so, I see a doctor regularly. They have me on a number of medications to compensate for issues. As you grow older, things don't start working better magically. They start wearing out and getting worse, If with good insurance, you can get things done. You can have things. I actually just had a surgery a little while ago. A guy cut a growth out of the side of my face. Now, it had been tested and it was benign. There was no cancer or anything like that, but still the growth kept growing, and the doctor said, look, it ain't going to get smaller, it's only going to get bigger, so you probably want to have it removed, which I did, and I'm doing better, and I'm really glad for that. But I had great insurance, and I had financial independence, so that the surgery bill, I could afford it. The insurance covered the bulk of it, of course. And so everything was fine because the good insurance and being able to see doctors and take care of that. The other part of that is healthy relationships. Now, healthy relationships is a difficult topic for some people. You have people in your life that you just don't get along with. Some of that, in as far as it's up to you, do your best to get along with folks. That's one of the secrets of life too, is to get along with folks. But enjoy the people that you enjoy. Spend time with the family that you enjoy. Spend time with the friends that you enjoy. And if you don't have people in your life that you enjoy, then seek out that life. And one of the things that goes with that is spiritual health. And if you don't have people in your life that are good friends, hey, look to get involved with a local church. There's people around there. Maybe you won't like everybody in the church. Sure, you don't like everybody, cross-section of all people in general. But you'll find some people probably that you do like, that you have things in common with, that you can share with, that you can enjoy their company, and they'll enjoy yours. That's a good thing. That's very healthy. And the other thing is faith. I will tell you that my faith makes my life better, and that my faith is in Jesus of Nazareth. Love is more important than things. And so my life is a lot about my faith. And you don't have to live the exact same life as I do, but there's been a number of studies that show that people that pray, people that believe, people that are active in their church live a better quality lifestyle overall than the population as a whole. And so I encourage you to look into those things. It's worth looking into. I've actually done a video called The Meaning of Life, and I'm going to put a link to it just up above right here. And if you want to find out more about my faith and why I think faith is a good thing, well, check out that video. Now, before I finish, I want to say, my perfect retirement is hunting for free gold. And I really enjoy getting out and doing that, because it's a getting out in the hills, the deserts, the mountains, the forests. I've traveled all over. I've been to Africa. I've been to Australia. I've found gold a number of times in Alaska. I've been all over the western U.S. hunting gold, and I just have a great time doing it, and I have a great time whether I find gold or not. But finding gold is a thing about skill. And the more skill you have, the more knowledge you have about, finding gold, the better off you're going to be. And that's why I wrote a book about that. It's called Fistful of Gold. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. So this is my book, Fistful of Gold. You can see it's an encyclopedia distilling down my 45 plus years of prospecting experience plus my degree into the parts that you need to know. I spent most of 10 years writing this. It was not just a simple effort that, I sat down and wrote it. You can see it's like 250,000 words. It's not something you're going to read through in a day or maybe even a week or more. But it's got a lot of information and reference material that you can come back to. You can read it once and read it again and get more out of it because there's just that much depth of material in this. I wrote this book because I want you to have the skills to go out and find fistfuls of gold for yourself. And if you have the skills and know what you're doing and get out in the field and make a real effort, you can find significant gold. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you that because, gold, it wouldn't be, close to $2,000 an ounce, which is what it is right now. It wouldn't be so expensive if it was easy to find. It's not easy. You just can't walk out into an old gold field and start picking up nuggets. If the gold was easy to see and find, the old timers would have picked it up and taken it themselves. So you got to have skill. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to master what it takes to find gold, and you've got to have the persistence and put in the effort to find the material, to find the gold or diamonds or gemstones that you're looking for. Now, this book has geology, it has facts about gold, it has stuff about diamonds and platinum, but it's mostly about gold deposits, how gold deposits form, how placer and nuggets form, all the questions you probably wanted to ask. The book is available on Amazon, and I'll put a link to it in the description below, but you can look up on Amazon, Fistful of Gold, and by Chris Ralph, and find this book. Now, the book, if you look at it, it has a very high rating. It has like a 4.7 or 4.8 out of 5, which is really high. I mean, it's hard to please everybody, but I'm close to a 5 out of 5, not far from it, right? So it's been out. I've sold more than 15,000 copies of this book, and I've had tremendous response, tremendous positive response by the people who buy it. And I think if you buy it, you'll be just as happy with it. Now, in addition to my book, I also have a website that I do, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my website and show you some images from the website right now. Now, my website is nevadaoutbackgems.com, and I'll put a link to the prospecting page, this prospecting encyclopedia page, down in the description below, but you can find it at Nevada Outback Gems. I sell some jewelry, turquoise, other gemstones there. I don't always keep the inventory perfectly up to date, so if you're interested in anything you see, do contact me first before trying to send me money or anything, because I want you to be able to get what you order. But the website has lots of different stories, old adventures, even some stories, true stories from the old-time miners of the 1800s. So I think it's something you'll find interesting. The other thing I want to go back to is that all my comments, I want you guys to ask questions on the comments for my videos. I answer 100% of the comments that are made on my videos. Now, sometimes if somebody just says, hey, great video, I really enjoyed it, the comment may just be, well, I'm really glad you liked it. Or if it's a simple question. And sometimes I get people who ask me questions, it would take a book to answer that question. And I recommend that they just buy the book. But I answer all my questions. I try to help people as much as I can. I'm here to help you. So if you're interested in gaining the skills, if you're interested in knowing what you need to know to be successful, follow along with me. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that they'll let you know when I come out with new videos, and I try to do that pretty much every Saturday morning. And you'll enjoy with me, you'll come along with me, we'll have an adventure together, and we will find some nice gold and see what it's really like getting out in the woods, or the deserts, or the mountains, wherever we land, wherever the gold is, wherever the diamonds are, wherever the platinum is. Come along, we'll have some fun. And I'll see you real soon on the next video.